in which we're seeding and getting a lot of these teams that are sort of vying to get themselves into places like Pro League. So yeah, it's an interesting time for sure. A lot of teams that are trying to make a good impression and make their way into that circuit fairly naturally outside of being a partner team. And I mean, we do actually have two pretty big contenders. We kind of talked about the narrative where Sinners can effectively be that team who have been in Pro League in the prior season. Now looking forward to not the upcoming one, but a potential follow-up season in Pro League where they can maybe turn and impress more heads, where ECSTATIC are instead trying to get themselves in for the first time.
I think they can get in for the upcoming one as well. I'm not sure about this. I'll have to check this one through because the upcoming season starts in March, I think. So, well, we'll check that one out later on because right now Manx is putting Shock down. Wants to go for another peek over here. He was fantastic on Vertigo against Savage. Really a crucial point of success for them. Oscar just clears out the upper bomb site, and with Mini smoked off, the bomb plant can be secured.
Well, 5 and 4, and they don't exactly have a most amount of utility. A singular smoke that is thrown already. That's to prevent Neofrag from getting an angle, and that's because 3 players are coming in from Mini. They're waiting for the right time to strike.
Zedco, oh, he's just been tagged up initially already. Oh. What a pair of entries coming in from ECSTATIC. All 3 players just coming through with a quick few shots, and now Neofrag spotted out and finished off Fasher, the one to deliver death. And Sin as well. They'll not be able to find that first round despite getting the quick bomb plant down. It's just the triple entry onto the bomb site again that takes them by storm.
Yeah, great overall play there from ECSTATIC, just playing it patient as well. Even if without them having a kit, they didn't feel like they were too rushed considering how fresh that bomb plant was, and understanding as well that they had to go around that smoke timing. So finding that flurry of kills just left Neofrag basically in an unwinnable position. They just do the checking as well. There are currently, I think, 4 ESL world ranking positions that are still yet to be determined.
Correct.
And so, you know, win events like Anaheim, that would certainly boost your standing. But I don't think that, I don't think that actually projects them in, which is, I think they're 27th currently in the world rankings. So a little far down the list.
Not impossible, but yeah, you're right. It's pretty unlikely. Of course, like 13 of the top 20 are already partner teams, so there is that to consider. Sinners for now, though. They need to get there first. We're getting ahead of ourselves. I actually thought that the current ESEA season that's going on was also giving a spot in, but no, that one's not actually the case. As for season 60, Wolfie wants to take the peek out, but Beastick in the meanwhile has already found Bird from Sky, but there are responses. However, ones that are still kept equal. Shock, he's had his feet tickled in a way he doesn't quite like it, so he's very low over here.
Yeah, losing more players as well, not ideal. Beastick 1-on-2, but getting gunned down at distance. Wolfie with a solid outside hold with a bit of a supportive cast. Had a few more players firing off those shots at long range, where Sinners were kind of just caught out in the open, didn't go out with so much utility.
And this is where Sinners now, you know, you'll be seeing them pop down to just Tech 9s and the like. Maybe a circumstance where ECSTATIC do end up having a couple of players overrun. In particular, I'm keeping an eye on New Manx, pulling out that PP Bizon. And yes, I will forever keep on pronouncing it like that because it's not a real gun, so it doesn't get a real pronunciation. But Neofrag, he's gone in. Tech 9 found the first bird from Sky. He's blind and dead. Fashion now peeking out with the M4, trying to get a quick response, but Sinners will maintain that man advantage and have snuck a player into secret all in the meanwhile. Zedco could be a real difference maker.
Yeah, nobody at the moment rotating towards that lower side here on the side of ECSTATIC. The problem is the rest of the Sinner squad can't re-navigate and rendezvous with him towards that lower site. And so while he has that position, it's all about how tricky he can be, maybe catching a player out on the rotation. I do wonder whether this Bison will come back to bite Manx. He actually gave up that ramp angle as well, and that might not be a great time to do it. At the moment, Sinners are grouped up in that position. I think Zedco's going to get really too many duels, which is the main issue here for Sinners.
Wolfie as well, just navigating back towards ramp, just to cover off. Oh, that's a juicy one. Oh, looked like it might have gone a little bit awry, but it does still do some decent damage. Wolfie will fall regardless, and now Manx comes in with a haymaker. The Bison will get 2 kills, get him a fair bit of money, and to save the M4 while he's at it. So I guess it's job well done, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah, it could have been a little bit more dangerous in that particular round, but that they didn't really have outside control. So actually making that lurk towards lower work, the best way you can do that is like breaking the glass towards the locker room simultaneously with the control player.
Yeah, it's really hard though.
Yeah, it's all. You also need enough room to do that, and ECSTATIC had a lot of outside control. So into proper rifles now here for Sinners, full belts of utility across the board as well. So we'll see what their particular approach is here for Nuke, because I wasn't expecting them to pick into this in all honesty.
Yeah.
It's been some time since they've put in the reps on this map, but I think we were talking during our little breaks that maybe they put some extra work in, something that like is an ace in the hole that they were hoping to pull out in this qualifier.
Last time these guys played Nuke was on the 16th of November, so it's been almost a month.
Yeah. And with them, of course, being in the lower bracket, this is a good time to throw in one of these kind of not so much an oddball pick, because they did used to play it fairly frequently, but something that may have fallen out of their current rotation. See if they can catch a team or two out. At the moment, ECSTATIC seem comfortable enough to be the way they've started.
Good flash. That's a great flash to come through. Bird from Sky is going to be able to go for the initial peek, and now the Molotov as well as a grenade from downtown. It's going to be good damage, but Sinners have actually backed off immediately. Bird from Sky doing the same. He doesn't want to hold this position for too long, and with 40 seconds, he doesn't need to. He can just stay inside the double doors, just keep bumping his head on the frame. Concussions don't matter, as long as you can stay alive, I guess. Oh, good flash timing as well. That is beautiful.
Just a delay. A few extra seconds could be a difference maker. Wolfie's being pressured at ramp as well, and the flash is great to push him off the angle. Shock's in hot pursuit, and that's a bit of territory now taken. They deal with the player in the side of the site, and ECSTATIC are trying to make this rotate down. 2 players at decon.
Max quickly trying to wide swing around the corner, but it just isn't enough space to do so. Dafu will trade, but a trade's not good enough. Fasher is the one to deliver, and now he's been delivering again. He adjusts in time. Zedko will be found. A sudden 2-on-2, but it's still one where you have a lot of utility out on Shock. And Neofrag still alive. Dafu gone. Neofrag, perfect position. Fasher will be finished off. Really nice attempt from Fasher, actually, bringing it back to a 2-on-2, but at the same time, it also just does lead into that, hey, now it's a 2-on-2. We shouldn't save. We should go for this. And you end up losing all your money that way. Yeah,
it looked like that trade was dead to rights. So Fasher almost feel like he got away with the kill. He's not really expected to win. But you're right, it incentivizes them to push instead of saving. And, I mean, we've kind of talked about some of the economic situations for ECSTATIC coming from that previous game. Sometimes when they were down but on loss bonus, they just kept on buying into it.
Yeah.
It seems like they're pretty comfortable just running on SMG buys. Even if it didn't actually have the highest success rate.
I actually liked a few of the things they did on Inferno in particular, but it felt like, yeah, on Vertigo for sure, they were overly committed to it. Because the SMG buys and leaving $1,000 behind is something that LDLC, back when Existence used to play on it, would occasionally run.
Yeah, and but they didn't even leave 1,000 in the pocket. They just kept
no. You're thinking of
the... I'm thinking ECSTATIC.
The old LDLC, yeah.
No, I'm saying ECSTATIC, when they were doing it, they just kept full buying all the way down every single time.
That was Vertigo. On Inferno, a couple of times on the T side, they did actually go for this half buy $1,000 in the pocket, which I liked. But yeah, when they started doing it on Vertigo with no money on the CT side, yeah, that's always going to be a risky one. That's exactly what they've done over here. Manx, meanwhile, spots out, drops down. That's the play.
Yeah, mulling Wolfie out of position as well. He wants to try and make this all have some level of impact, and they are pressuring towards Hell, so he'll get his wish.
Ooh, I don't know if that was his wish, Michael.
Yeah, probably
Santa
not.
chose him and said he's been naughty. Last I checked, you get coal. Turns out that's too valuable. Santa just kills you now.
They are funneling towards Manx, and this is an angle that should go cleared in some capacity. Zedko does at least give it a check, but does lose his life for it. Some extra information here for Sinners, but Bird from Sky is actually providing support from a distance.
And this is where they're trying to close the distance. This isn't very much time left. Shock's over here. They've peeked up from behind. Bird from Sky has managed to give them all the time necessary. to win out that round. So despite getting the initial kill via B-Stick, the fact that they bought that much space with the CZ is exactly what they needed. Like, look at how long it actually takes for them to address the Manx presence. And with Bird from Sky getting this single kill, there you go.
And he 100% understood what his task was there. Hasn't had a glaring start to this game, but honed in exactly on that bomb planter and understood that Fasher was already playing safe on the other side of the map. So really good recognition about what the options were there for Sinners and countering it. They had so many numbers, but could not protect that planter. A lot of noise outside, so ECSTATIC know that this is open field here for Sinners. Bird from Sky is even smoked off. Nobody's going to challenge it. So this is really worrying for the defensive hold here for ECSTATIC, because now that Heaven Wrap is exposed, they need to find some sort of territory right back, and that's why we see on the minimap, he actually re-aggressed into lobby. Wolfie, alone over towards the lower side of the map, does get Molotov out of position, but counteracts it with one of his own.
And that Molotov is not going to spread all the way back, but Zedko in the meanwhile has got so much space over to Heaven. If he can actually make his way down from the vents, this would be massive, but this is where Fasher can also just end up being caught out. Oscar and B-Stick are down. Zedko, oh, he spots the player, but he's choosing not to kill him until later. Oh, no. A little bit ragged on the kill, but he'll be able to protect the ascent up vent. And Sinners should be able to get this bomb plant down. Although I say that, there are two players inside Hunt. They can choose to push out soon. Manx is trying to be sneaky around with his footwork. Grenade to be chucked off to the backside. That's decent damage, but where's the follow-up?
Shock's completely contained, and they have the numbers to swarm this one, but that Heaven position for Zedko could still be a really big X factor.
Of course, they do know that he's in this position, but they don't have utility to stop him from really doing much about it. One smoke on Dafu, maybe that's what you could do. Good flashbang peek in as well. Bird from Sky tried to peek in before it bopped, and that's exactly what gives them the win. Over there, Zedko now is going to be peeked into. They've got a smoke as well. Two, actually, now that one more has been picked up. But Wolfie on the defuse, and Zedko can't stop it from coming out. 5-1, ECSTATIC keep 4 players alive as well, and so much of that comes down to the decision to peek in with the flashbang.
Yeah, and that counter reaction that they had planned as well, considering that they gave up all of that outside territory for free. They understood what they had to do to mitigate the loss of that territory, and so they push through lobby. They get doubled up into hut, so much so that they can maintain this pressure on the site so that Sinners can't effectively re-navigate or reposition to make the post plan a little bit easier for them. ECSTATIC were running low on the util for that retake, but so were Sinners. They've been stopped just at that one round that they've been able to accrue for themselves. Good little Molly smoke combo into the door as well. It seemed like Sinners were grouped up in that position, looking to burst. This is not looking pretty here for Sinners, especially in a round like this where they throw these outside smokes, but Bird from Sky just called their bluff.
I mean, he's so aggressively positioned right now. Bird from Sky is just waiting for them to start peeking in. B-Stick on the other side's caught out and brought down. And now with Sinners not having any map control to work off of, they're still in defensive default positions, and you've lost a man already. Wolfie now even has an extra player around the corner, and that's exactly what ends up happening, Michael. Manx will come up big with 2 fantastic frags, and Wolfie, that's all you need. Maybe Zedko can get a kill or 2 here and there, but even that's denied to him. 6-1. Money now being built up as well.
Yeah, really good 1-2 setup there for Wolfie. Just even though he saw these players go towards ramp, he didn't actually wait to line up a shot of his own. Just kind of fired off a chancery spam just on the off chance that he does some tag damage as well, but didn't actually have a player lined up in his crosshairs, also that he can kind of create this opportunity where Manx goes sort of haphazardly cleared in an attempt to chase that ultra down. Manx doing a great job of getting those 2 kills in the first place. Oh, excuse me. Wolfie was holding the angle, and Oscar just hits him with a wide swing. It's a scout as well, so there's an upgrade along his path somewhere.
If you can get there, for sure. Yeah, this is where you need to see Oscar coming out big with a few of these kills. Zedko left on 1 HP, and Oscar's got another one in the tally. Dafu. Oh, what a shot from Shock. Great adjustment. It's left Dafu alone, but he's in a one-on-one with a player who's got literally 1 HP. It had to be the one tap, and, well, Zetko just can't get it. So Dafu saves him in a difficult circumstance. He keeps their team's run going, and I'm pretty sure they're happy about the previous few rounds. Otherwise, their money would have once again ended up being basically non-existent.
Yeah, this is a really threatening round, especially when Shock got those kills, but you can see Oscar actually just tempted by that AWP. He was like whispering to him in the garage, pick me up. That's actually what gave Dafu the opportunity to find him in the back. Like you said, his teammate was 1 HP, so Oscar actually had to do most of the heavy lifting in a round like that.
Of course, not to everyone. Just make sure if you're ever being whispered to in the garage, then be careful about it.
Yeah, stay away.
Pick me up. But yes.
Thing might be cursed for all you know.
Indeed, you never know, because Wolfie's already lost most of his HP, so... Oh. Bouncy.
Nice little movement. Still so many issues here for Sinners to address. They've gotten close in a few of these rounds. Seen good composure from ECSTATIC to get some of these retakes, even some of these chaotic rounds, bail themselves out of it. With the early damage done onto Sinners in particular, this does leave them very vulnerable to things like spam, especially with Bird from Sky rattling off those shots on the cross. Oh god, Neo Frags just barely survived on 1 HP.
Yeah. Sinners has been good about that, haven't they? For Zed going on Neo Frag.
It's enough for the AWP.
Yeah, well, Wolfie right now is going to get that kill. Bird from Sky feeling a little bit cheated if he knew that. It could have been his frag, but now Wolfie has to be careful. He's too close and he's a little bit too committed. Basic takes him down, Molly to the bottom of the vent, and it's Manx over here to cover off Oscar. Great little off angle, but Shock. Now he's getting aggressive towards the A-bomb side. Fasher is aware of his presence. They're trying to circle, navigate, but he moves his crosshair away.
The timing.
It really is. Sometimes it's going to be like that. Bird from Sky. Trying to go for a quick peek out. They know that the last player's not around. B-Stick's making his way over. The defuse could start to come through, but they're watching out for it. B-Stick not going for the peek. Knew that if they'd stuck it, they would have been gone right now. But another one-on-one going the way of ECSTATIC.
So many close rounds. I don't know how they keep getting away with it. With Sinners as well, getting themselves cracked into that site so quickly. All they needed was a bit more support on that site or play from decon instead. But didn't want to give up that territory for free. Bird from Sky, really proactive as soon as that bomb went down. Didn't give them an inch. Kept them on their toes. Kept them on their heels. Feel like they're going to need to listen to some whale song or something that can provide some sort of spiritual healing, because I talked about some of the issues Sinners have had in some of their recent games is that, you know, they can sometimes start off pretty hot, but when they do go cold, actually getting that engine up and running can be quite difficult. Yeah.
Especially when you end up going down while you're flashed through a smoke, through a wall. Never the happiest of campers when that happens.
All the additions.
Yeah.
I like that. Throwing nades down to your lower site player.
Cute, for sure.
I know it's been a while since that update, but it still, I don't know, it still makes me happy.
It's also one of those things where I still feel like it's not going to be utilized properly for another 6 or 7 months.
Mm-hmm. Still not at its full capacity.
A good night. Molotov as well. Shock's got to run away, and that means Bird from Sky's got a lot more space to work around with. Flashbang goes out over. He's trying to work around the smoke in the meanwhile, just making sure that if anyone's going to take the peek, he's got a bit of a one-way advantage. Problem is B-Stick's just crouching and moving away from him. Bird from Sky, he's been standing out, but he's managed to stay alive for so long in such a tricky position. This is very important.
Found B-Stick on the low ground as well, so didn't actually get help for free either. So there's still a man down. Trying to move into towards this upper side and hasn't spotted out the legs of Fasher, who's trained on that heaven position. Instead, finally, Shock will reveal his hand, but at the far vents, Manx. Oh, they actually spot out Dafu, but he's unable to get the first kill. Secondary will be found. Dafu, the quick flick. How on earth has he been able to do that? Oscar still being able to find that trade, and now this is pulled into a one-on-one where Oscar has to do a guessing game.
He thinks that he's coming over from heaven, but Wolfie's actually going for the full flank from behind. This is the perfect play for Wolfie to make if Oscar starts to go back towards... Oh no, Oscar! Is he committing to hot? He turns away, but Oscar gets the headshot anyway! Oh my days! Oscar just saves that round. You saw Dafu in that spot just finding those multiple kills, and you're thinking, okay, this is suddenly Game on for ECSTATIC in a position where it looked like Shox had done all, but then Wolfie in the one-on-one. Michael Oscar just turns. He just turns.
But that's a big miss from Wolfie as well. Like, we've seen a few in today's games where it feels kind of uncharacteristic from him. It doesn't feel like that's a round he's supposed to lose. Even with him having all the advantages, somehow Oscar gets them out of it.
Oh, this nade could be nice. Indeed it is. Manx is turning around. A bit more damage now. Knife out. Why not? In case he had strafed right, maybe could have been something to be found. Wolfie now, though, he's trying to get a bit more aggressive, and they found a few kills, but the problem is Wolfie's now also got to consider the save. He's got Oscar right opposite him. This time it's a one-on-one that he doesn't want to lose. Molotov. Right out the glass. Dafu. He's not going to be expected, but by the time he actually gets here, Wolfie might already be boxed out of the bomb site, and indeed, that's exactly what's happened. Knocked out. Oscar then switches back to the AWP afterwards. Oh!
Player was low, so he actually didn't even need the headshot, but...
Inside, Michael? We take it?
Yeah, quick adjustment. I was actually going to say as well, from that position, Wolfie actually had an AK at his feet, so could have actually traded out to that at any point, but didn't want to give some of these audio cues away. Also, I think wanted some sort of secondary objective where if he didn't find a kill, he could save that ult. But Oscar just makes sure that's not even a possibility. They've broken the cold streak.
They've also destroyed the economy.
Yeah. So there's more rounds still left to be had here for Sinners. And ECSTATIC aren't at a hefty enough loss bonus where they can consider some of those SMG forced by shenanigans we were talking about.
Off the back of this, you're set up for 5 already on Sinners. Just to these past few rounds. Frag, meanwhile, peeks forward. That's Fasher gone. And, well, that's a bomb loss, so you've got to be careful now. Oscar is actually trying to move back to cover off from Garage, potentially. Neofrag, meanwhile, player on the sideline doesn't quite spot him out from behind the scope, and now B-Stick has got to be careful because USPs can be really quite deadly. Oh, well, wants to switch out to another USB. Maybe a bit more extra ammo, all that good stuff. But Sinners do end up taking the round regardless.
Yeah, ideally would have been able to switch out to the Deagle for Dafu, but yeah, there were no upgraded pistols where he went. Doesn't matter. Still, it is an expensive round there for Sinners, so it's not a pretty sight. You're saying they projected up to 5. I was going to contest that because, you know, that was only the one save round that ECSTATIC needed to get that full buy right back. Of course, they are missing out on some crucial bits of utility, like no kits. They're missing out on a hefty amount of Molotovs as well. What little Molotovs they did have been expended in sort of some of these anti-rush protocols. Oh, catching Oscar down towards the vents. I wasn't sure if they'd be too privy to that fact, but Oscar went for a very, very quick line, one that was very audible. That's the highest value weapon dealt with, and a high value player as well, and Oscar, who has been there to help bring forward some of these rounds that have been a little tricky.
Yeah, he's been a real closer, that's for sure.
Not resetting Sinners, they're just trying to lurk out.
Pasher's been a bit of an opener. He's been opening people's heads up. Dafu, though, he's been the one of this map. Brings it on to a 5-on-3. Shock, Oscar, both high priority kills. And 45 seconds left. You're really running the clock down to a position where the trades just cannot favor you. This is going to continue to become more and more difficult when you realize you can't molly out any of the players on the upper bomb side either. Flashbang, rather smoke to go forward. Mini's been smoked off. Blair from Sky can just avoid all the flashes, turn around and get this crossfire going. First kill's good, doesn't need a swing. It's Daffo to cover off his back, and Wolfie to add the cherry on top. Sinners, where they were threatening to break economies, now they themselves will feel, or rather miss, the weight of a wallet.
Yeah, and the repercussions of that round, losing so many weapons to USPs and the singular Deagle, will, of course, leave a bit of a sore spot. They're leaving enough money in reserve so that they can buy up for that last round of the half, but ECSTATIC could very well push into that double digits territory, especially considering this isn't an ideal buy. But they've overwhelmed with these pistols before. We saw the drop down onto Bird from Sky and towards Mini in a round prior. They can make do with a little less. They're kept at bay, though. Singular smoke over towards outside, but not the secondary one to allow the cross. There it is. Oh, gap.
There's a big gap in that smoke, but at least the flashbang will be able to cover it off for a while longer, so that Hero AK and company maybe can make its way down. Now, you still have to be careful about this lurk from Shock. If he can be put in position, he's been good for a few very nice deagle shots. Mang's great initial, and Wolfie's there to follow up, and now they know where the second player as well. Double doors opened. Oscar, well, that's a freebie. Walking, talking. And home delivery. Can Oscar take up the mantle? Nah, not quite.
Doesn't seem so. Shock can't get his hands on his AWP, so can make this a little bit more threatening, but doesn't have the elevated angle to contest the player behind the site. And that bomb's just too out in the open. ECSTATIC have likely swarmed it. Is the assumptions the Shock's likely making, but making sure he doesn't get flanked as well. But I think the priority now becomes just to hold on to this ult for the round to come.
Saving their loss bonus isn't that good either, so I don't know if Oscar would be able to afford utility if he doesn't save this up.
Yeah, he also just saves a lot more value by holding on to this ult, his armor, the smoke as well.
Mm-hmm.
Good choice, I think we'll say here for Shock. But ECSTATIC already up to 10, where, you know, if they get to that 11-4 scoreline, yada, 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 you can meme about it all you want. Is it a deceptive scoreline? Not in today's time, I don't think.
Like, all scorelines are deceptive.
Yeah, you can come back at any point. That's one of the beauties of CS.
Indeed. 15-0? Maybe not. Have we ever actually seen a comeback in, like, Pro CS from 15-0?
There is one, but I'd struggle to remember what.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't quiz me on things like this.
All right. Hey, you know, gotta keep your memory sharp, Michael. All right, now B6 gonna be looking to sharpen his aim, hopefully off of the grindstone of ECSTATIC heads. But now, going forward a bit quickly, wants to make a fair bit of noise while he's going through. The flashbang is good as well. B-Stick, however, was sat on the spray and he can't get the second kill. Now, suddenly, he's still opened up the bomb site, but the problem is Wolfie's dropped the bomb itself. Flashbang straight in will delay them from actually moving back to pick it up. They'll need Oscar to come up big, and Wolfie's angle being held is so strong.
Almost like he was about to flick and kill Bird from Sky there, but trading that weapon over because he's low HP, but they have conceded the bomb site all the meanwhile. These three players here for Sinners do have this favorable advantage now that they have that bomber taken.
Only one flashbang in them, and there's a lot of utility from the CT side. They're going to be looking to fully re-exec into this one, but how is that call going to be made? Flashes all coming through, nothing catching out Zedko. Shock's been tagged up. Zedko looks away at the crucial time. He doesn't realize that the push is coming through, and now it's all on Oscar. He won a 1v1 earlier on. Now he has to do 4 more, but he can't get it. Don can't find the frags, and it's 11. Where ECSTATIC Sinners might have had a short comeback, but they're going to have a long talk before we get into the second half. We'll be back after a short break. Taking this map out, a surprise first pick from them, and we were thinking it's going to be a super weapon. Instead, it's a bit of a medium weapon, I guess. I'm T-Tom, joined by Michael Yumi Cassidy.
It's one of those like shotguns that loops back into the ignition and somehow just explodes in your face. It seems like not the T-side that they were hoping for at all.
I don't know what kind of shotgun chopping you do, Michael, but I
no, it's like one of those old cartoon bits.
Yes.
So out of shape, it just blows up in your face.
Fair enough. Well, Shock was hoping to blow up in their faces, but not quite able to do so. Instead, he's just forced to back off. Dafu in hot pursuit. Jumping up. He's been a little bit evasive, but Manx will be the first casualty. Shock finally delivering. At least one more to the tally, and they've got the advantage. But Sinners, are they able to hold on to it? Yes, they are. They've dropped the bomb, and NeoFrag with 2 frags has basically found pretty much the round.
This is real awkward. Bird from Sky was hoping to find some sort of kill on the lurk while the rest of the team goes over towards that B-bomb site. And now he no longer has teammates. So he's got some explaining to do. See if he can somehow bail them out of this situation. One that is likely of his design. Not the teammates dying part, but him looking for those rotates. Don't think Sinners are going to give him the opportunities, though. Nope, they spotted him.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a difficult perusal. At least he gets 1 kill, you know? Bit of money. Something to write home to mom about. Like, hey, mom, I lost the match, but I've scored a goal.
Yeah, it's one of those chancier moments as well, where if it works and there's still somebody holding on that A-bomb site, maybe if they're not so committed into the lower side of things, they could actually rotate back, and then it's, you know, something like a mastermind play. Not this time, though.
Not this time, indeed.
Exactly the way you want to open, though, if you're Sinners. With only 4 rounds in that first half, you want as much leeway as possible. Pistol round, of course, provides you as such. Especially with ECSTATIC not investing into this follow-up round. No bomb plant, few kills.
I'm actually pretty worried, Michael, about ECSTATIC in the second half when you consider that Wolfie was popping off. And now, you know, T-side is very difficult for offers. And he's proven his worth with the rifle. Let's not mince any words about that. But it's unlikely to be the same level of impact.
For sure.
That's where we're looking more at Dafu.
It's also where he kind of woke up after losing a crucial 1v1, didn't he? So
yeah, I guess. Fair enough.
Maybe
that's what you need.
Just awoken.
Yeah. Every single game, ECSTATIC has a strategy, Michael. You know, the whiteboard is, and everyone knows about this except for Wolfie. Make sure he loses at least 1v1.
This is how we engage the beast.
Question is, how are they going to be engaging the beast of a hair? They've got enough to be able to buy up. A couple of pieces of utility will be missed out on. Manx, so you can already see, doesn't have a flashbang or a Molotov. And this is always where I'm very curious to see how teams sort of adjust in Nuke with low util. What's the call going to be? Is it outside smokes, pop through? Is just a faster hot play? Something we don't actually see that much anymore, even just as a sort of turn of momentum.
Yeah, you're just funneling through a singular choke point. It can sometimes just go catastrophically wrong. Like, especially at the end of halves, you actually see a lot of teams go for sort of burst out hut as a call to end a T-side half sometimes, and you just look at it and sometimes just go, was that really the best plan you had? So I can see why they maybe avoid it. But yeah, especially second round buys on T-side Nuke, I feel like you can't get away with them all too easily because basically 2 or 3 of your smokes are expended outside almost every round.
Yeah.
See them even setting up for a couple of those right off the jump. 3 already out of their pockets, but...
And that's what Sinners are also looking to exploit. You can see how aggressive Zedco is. They don't really have much utility to be able to force him off the angle, and Zedco realizes that Flashbang's been dodged out. He's trying to back off from inside the smoke. Oscar as well. He's still committed in this angle. Oscar's going to be brought down, but the question is, can Zedco find more action? In the meanwhile, he even gets damage onto the third, but... despite all of that, the problem is going to be the 3-on-3, and that's a problem NeoFrag is quick to swiftly going to fix.
Oh, solid nade. Might have set it a little too deep. Does do some tagging onto both players. NeoFrag doesn't suspect that a player has cheated his way through towards that garage, but here's that flank. B-Stick pushing through lobby. Shock as well on the high ground, and, well, Manx is dead every single day of the week. Wolfie does have the bomb, though, but, oh! Wasn't quite prepared for a NeoFrag to be so prepared for the player underneath him. Came out swinging and no real issues. It definitely highlights one of the drawbacks of going for that second round buy is that, you know, you're maybe not setting up for some of these Molotovs behind the red container. You're not maybe going for the leaning wall so much. I think it definitely deters you from going that particular route because it's also a buying pattern that shouldn't allow you the AWP presence either, and so Sinners can play a little bit more liberal at distance.
I'm a big proponent of just MAC-10s with full utility.
Yeah, that like quasi-buy that we were
situation.
kind of talking about and highlighting
Yeah.
before, where you do have a couple $100 or $1,000 in the back pocket for a follow-up round.
Mm-hmm. Try and get the bomb plot down. You've already won.
Mm-hmm.
And you can sort of make sure that the CT economy is honest. You can already see it starting to run away a little bit. Sinners, that's exactly what they're trying to go for. Static's Deagles can still punish. Ooh. The one player who didn't have a Deagle.
No, I'm pretty sure he did have a deagle.
Wasn't that Wolfie?
No,
just got
clipped
the
him,
headshot?
clipped him through the floor.
Okay. Well, Shocks clipped him in the head without any interruptions. Clean and easy as can be in this anti-eco. All 5 players kept alive. A lot of long-range shooting and a lot of dead T-side players, rather. ECSTATIC are really going to have to bring something together. Now, Wolfie's on the AWP. You've got all the utility you necessarily need. Short, a little bit short on Wolfie, but that's no excuse about it. What's the plan got to be?
Yeah, this is the scary part of Nuke, where even if you have a solid and convincing half yourself, it's the game of two halves. It always is in Counter-Strike. If you have a solid CT, so can your opponent. Even with that comfortable lead, you can sometimes let that slip, and Sinners are on the path to do exactly that. We're playing with an AWP on the CT side, and that's where Wolfie will have the edge at some of these long-range fights. See the leaning wall here from ECSTATIC, one that does leave a lot of vulnerabilities. With Neofrag, though, he's gotten so hyper-aggressive. Found a kill in lobby, is already up on T-roof, and Max has to be hyper-paranoid about this.
Zedko's in such a strong position over here. He's good for 2. Could even be 3. Dafu on the other side will overwhelm, but it doesn't matter. Shocks is there to provide the necessary backup. Zedko destroys that round, and Neofrag will make it so you can even save the AWP while you're at it. Perfect round from Sinners.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that Neo... I thought he got that kill in towards lobby, but he actually just pushed T-roof and found Wolfie just out in the open. So it's kind of crazy that Neofrag is willing to make a play like that, where he is very much alone in that pursuit. But he's one of those aggressive riflers that we were kind of talking about in the pregame, where sometimes in Sinner's victories, you know, you want components like Oscar and Neo to be having these kind of monster or crazy initiative plays. Going into a full buy round and doing something like that, that's got to really weigh on your mind if you're ECSTATIC. Like, how have we let him get away with that?
And you haven't seen Wolfie or Dafu really frag. I mean, Dafu's gotten 1, but nothing significant in this half so far. And that's always going to be one of the problems of having, you know, players popping up that hard on the CT side, where it looks like they're just sitting in an angle and holding down their positions very effectively. It's just completely different aim style to what you're going to have to sort of bring to the table on T side.
I don't think it's anything missing here on the side of ECSTATIC. Everyone is missing.
Well, that's true. In all fairness, that's where generally criticism for star players will always ring a little bit more clearly.
Yeah, it's just that's what's allowed Sinners to get such a comfortable economy, is that they just haven't been dying.
Just don't die. There you have it, guys. Shock right now, though. He's got to get an eye out for a few more trophies on the cabinet. Finishes them all off. Makes it look pretty. Nice little deagle shot in the end as well.
Yeah, Neofrag was there to cover, but Shock didn't even need his help. 4 kills on that secondary AWP. Shock's having a hell of a game himself. And you really do get nervous for ECSTATIC. 11-4 leading into this half. And Sinners are pushing to get that 7 in a row. They've already got 6. As soon as they reach that tipping point, ECSTATIC, I don't know if they'll be able to recover.
Let's not forget, they did obviously also just have a big loss against Savage on a map that they felt, a couple of maps that they felt very comfortable on. Shock, great peek from him coming out after the previous round. He's feeling confident to aggress forward that deep, knowing that ECSTATIC are unlikely to challenge him too hard, and he's got lobby support even if they do. Zedko long range with the M4. He's got another one. Re-peeking back out with the spray reset, really taking advantage of the full fluidity that the gun offers you.
Oh, as if you're being pressured in towards lobby that heavily. There's a consolation. Wolfie has finally dealt with Zedka, but he was tagged and low player on the side of Sinners. They've just got so much territory based on some of these confidence plays. I mean, how do you even re-aggress into this? Dafu's going to try maybe making his way down the ladder. It could be a good time to go for it, considering Shaka has given up that territory. Dafu hears the scope as well over towards ramp, so knows that that is vacated. They can just sit inside of bomb sites. They'll be comfortable to do so. They can trade so easily on what ECSTATIC have to offer.
And so far, ECSTATIC have not had much to offer, but Dafu's still hoping to get at least one kill and a bomb plant, but even that escapes him. Yeah, this is just tragedy.
Yeah, they've got their heads on. They have their heads on a swivel almost constantly in some of these hectic early rounds because Sinners are just in their face and then so elusive after they get that kill. They're not being quickly traded.
It's also where, you know, ECSTATIC will start to question their default, start to wonder, hey, what's going on? Is this sort of what we should be doing? Maybe something's just going wrong, because generally speaking, if you're going for a slow default in the beginning of the round, that's where you should be the best at dealing with this random aggression. And then, hey, we're just holding angles, we're waiting for you to be the one to push forward, and Sinners have been obliging, but Sinners have also just been colliding with their heads again and again. That's exactly what's happening here. Neofrag just pushes in. He just pushes in.
Oh, he is such a savage. I cannot believe the audacity on this man. Just runs at them.
ECSTATIC.
No utility. Doesn't need any extra pieces. Just pops them.
Even chucks the smokes down while he was actually going for the push forward.
Yeah, it's like, you guys use this. This isn't for me.
Yeah, I don't want. I don't remember the lineup.
I don't want this responsibility.
Yeah. And ECSTATIC, like I said before, Michael, their default just isn't sort of working if you can have pushes like that working out in 3 rounds in a row. Maybe
it's like Sinners are stress testing them on their default to such an extreme where like ECSTATIC are like snapping at every turn. And in the few rounds where Sinners have actually played back, like you're getting some pretty big multi-kills from these outside holds, from shotgun at ramp as well. Like they don't have a weakness to exploit to a degree where they can counteract what I guess the Neofrag has planned. Been doing a great job here on the side of Sinners, mixing things up.
Oh, nice shot from Hugson, rather from Shox initially. He's been one of the main points of aggression where he's just been a nightmare.
Yeah.
That secondary op as well. I also love how he's been playing, and honestly, when he's on double the kills that Oscar has, I feel a bit ashamed calling him the secondary, but obviously, it's just, he's having a fantastic game right now, but I just appreciate whenever secondary operas are willing to get hyper-aggressive or just really change up their style very significantly compared to what a normal Deddy opera would play. It just gives your own opera so much more space. It's just also more refreshing to watch. It's also just has some great additional frameworks that you need to consider on ECSTATIC. What is that wide swing? Wow.
They just cannot buy a kill.
Yeah.
In all fairness.
Like Zedko just swings out. Yeah, you're right, Michael. It is swivel time. Where are they? Where are they? Left? Right?
They could literally be anywhere. And they're trying to contact in hopes of maybe surprising these Sinners players, but they're finding great timings where players are just not looking their direction. I would love to see the half breakdown in terms of what the kill board is looking like for ECSTATIC in this T-side half. Because you've got now 3 players after this round that are going to be capped out on money.
I mean, I can tell you, Wolfie and Dafu, between the two of them, I think they've gotten like 4 kills so far.
3 or 4 kills, yeah.
Yeah. So that's super great.
Oh, he doesn't die after time. That's about as much of a saving grace as you could ask for.
That is terrible consolation.
Really feeling the burn. All four timeouts burned. And after each of these timeouts, they have still not broken the streak. What's going to change this time over? Do they go for some of these faster plays? You know, we kind of talked about the lobby push or trying to barrel out of hut to some degree, but we've seen Sinners actually kind of reel in some of that aggression because we could see the paranoia that's set in here for ECSTATIC. Sinners already done the hard part and made them so uncomfortable on this T side that they've actually been able to overtake them here on the CT comeback. They have yet to drop around here in the second half, and I don't think they show any signs of slowing down. 9 straight so far. What changes? Who dies here on Sinners, if anybody?
Maybe Oscar can answer that question pretty soon, but, you know, flashes have been avoided. He knows what's coming over his way. Finally, they've been able to get an early entry kill. Zetko still in a great position. He finds one, looking for the second, but there's too many angles to choose from. Fasher will bring him down and Neofrag to trade, but Wolfie and Fasher still keep it in their favor. This fast-paced play works out for them. The quick double push down into Mini, and even Bird from Sky is able to chime in.
Definitely a different look there from ECSTATIC. They had a couple players go for some of these aggressive lines in rounds prior, but never a full commitment from the whole squad, and you could see it overwhelmed and actually kind of confused Oscar. Wasn't sure about where to position himself, couldn't escape the onslaught that was coming his way towards Mini as well. And the reaction comes in a little late there from Sinners when they're not finding these high multi-kills from several players across the map. Can be one of the drawbacks, and maybe that is the sore spot for Sinners. Maybe Oscar is a point to exploit, but Zedko's looking to reinforce outside.
Oh, that's the first kill already found. Sinners. Right when you thought that maybe there's an opportunity for ECSTATIC, this might be right over already. Zedko, headshot, molly. It's a blip in the radar. And sure, it might be a UFO, Michael, but you can't see it anymore.
And it's the immediate counter reaction. Like, they lost outside control so quickly in the round that ECSTATIC just won. That's where Zedko has put himself in a position where that can't happen 2 times over. So ECSTATIC need to find another solution to an already growing issue on this T side. They just found one. They were like, yes, we have found something we can utilize.
And don't worry, guys. We're still in this.
And then it's gone.
And you're not. Early glasses being broken over. That's interesting. On both sides. All right. Manx, though, he's got an aggressive. Oscar not able to catch him off initially. Even the second player being missed out. Some opportunities gone. And Max, oh no! Manx and Fasher will still fall. Zedko can actually wide swing over. Adjustment is good, and the Molotov buys him a bit more space. A smoke down as well. And his cheating pass. It's another frag for him. He's on 22 kills. Not really the player you look to deliver the big numbers. And maybe Wolfie can be the one to deliver the big round. Obviously not quite the same performance since the first half, but it's unfair to judge him on that basis. None of his team have been able to really deliver, and that's what we've seen. And Sinners, I mean, with full control of the bomb, how is it even possible for Wolfie to get away with this? Once you get the additional speed. Yeah. Problem is, if he scopes, I think the player above him will hear it. So as Wolfie closes the distance, he'll need to go for a quick scope. And Zedko, oh no, he's in and off angle. Sinners, 4 kills for Zedko. 15 rounds for the Czech squad. And a whole lot of misery for ECSTATIC.
An 11-1 record so far in this second half. Like you said, the only round that they got, that was simply a blip on the radar. And they try to go for that fast, chaotic style there from ECSTATIC. It almost works out as well. You know, they end up equal in trades, which is more than we can say for some of these slower, defaulty kind of rounds that they try and orchestrate here on the second half. Sinners just have so many different answers. Manx just tries to run his way through outdoor. They're just trying to collapse on this A-bomb site, but they're losing out on every single one of these fights. It's only Dafu, and he's dealt with as well. Sinners pull off a great comeback here in that second half and push through on their first map. They're picking the series. We'll be back after a short break to discuss how things went down.